How is it going, people? We are back again after what seems to be a very positive result, but a shambolic of a performance. I got to put my hands up and say that I gave up around the 70th minute. I almost switched the stream off. I couldn't take it no more. But it is indeed a historic win against odds. I must say, all odds. We showed tremendous fight. We got to say that. Tremendous fight, tremendous determination to stay in the tie and reverse the tide. It's easy when you look at it after the game, and hindsight is often a wonderful thing. But we could have easily crashed out at the hands of a very, very superior Chelsea side that didn't resemble any bit of how they set out last week. Today they had a clear game plan in their mind, and they knew what to expect. So how are we going to go about this, guys? We need to dissect from the get-go, from kickoff.
For me, honestly, the initial impressions after, the initial reaction is this is one of the most tiring games that I watched this season. I don't know. I don't know if it was the length, but the seesaw nature of the whole tie. I shouldn't actually say it was seesaw, because it wasn't seesaw. It was mostly Chelsea dominating, and we had a few moments of magic, that helped us get through. But the thing is, this was one of the most tiring games that I've watched this season.
Yeah.
That's my initial reaction to it.
There was a clear point in the game that I was numb, especially after Warner scored. I couldn't evoke any sort of emotion in me, and that's very rare when it comes to Real Madrid. I support 3 teams in total, but this team always brims me with emotion. But tonight, the way we performed up until around the 80th minute mark, it was pub football, non-league shit that I can't associate with Real Madrid, unfortunately. But Farooq, how do you think the first 30 minutes panned out? Was it something that you were expecting beforehand?
Actually, to be honest, as I told you guys before the game, I was expecting a sort of reaction from Chelsea. And, we started the game in the first 10 minutes and we're totally out of the blocks. And I was thinking, okay, maybe we could get an early goal, then we can kill the tie. But then a bit the tide started to turn, and Chelsea started to get a foothold in the game. And they scored, I think, around the quarter of an hour, I think, in 15 minutes. And then I was just shit has hit the fan. And I was just, praying to not get a second one before halftime. But to be honest, I think for me...
But you're lying, though. Sorry to cut you off, but you're lying, though. Because I remember you mentioning it in the chat, in the group, that you were not stressed at all until the second goal.
I'm saying, because if they had scored the second goal, then I would have said, okay, I'm stressed. But because they didn't score the second goal. So actually, for me, in my hand, I had the game was we're going to lose 2-1. Okay, if they score one just on the brink of halftime late in the first half, then it's all cool, you understand. But because they scored in the first 15 minutes, then that changed the dynamics in my mind. But because we went to halftime at 1-0, then I was okay, so my calculation still holds. They score one in the second half, and then we equalize one, and it's all just good to go, But actually, I would say this, for me, it was this is the reason why I watch football. The highs of this, this is what. Okay, for a Real Madrid fan, it's very, very nervous. But I think as a football fan in general, this is the reason why the games are being played, man. This is the reason.
As a neutral, it would have been a perfect storm to watch.
For me, as a guy who only watches Madrid and nothing else, this was one of the most stressful games. Probably this is the reason why I was pretty tired. But you cannot really understand the emotion that I was going through. First it was 1-0, then it's 2-0.
I called you. I called you around the 35th minute. You seem to be very calm, though. Unlike me.
The thing is, as a fan, I'm not very vocal. I don't tend to be, over the top reactions and stuff. I kind of keep my head. But the thing is, on the inside, I was what is happening? What is happening? And then, when Marcos Alonso scored, a funny thing is so I was watching on CBS, right? The thing is, my stream went behind. Okay.
Right.
I don't know technical issues with Paramount or whatever. So the thing is, whenever I opened Twitter, Chelsea would score a goal. First time I opened Twitter, it was Mount. Second time I opened Twitter, it was Rudiger. Third time I opened Twitter, it was Alonso. And then I stopped using Twitter. So for me, it was pretty stressful after the third goal when Alonso scored. and seeing him celebrate was especially painful because this is the guy who who came to Real Madrid and everything. So then seeing him celebrate at our downfall is sort of like painful, like hurtful. So when it got ruled out, we had a hope, and then I think we had a chat, and you were like, this game is pretty bad. No way we win this. And then when the third goal went from Timo Werner, I was with you. I was almost going to stop watching the game, but somehow for some reason I persisted, and we were rewarded with a good comeback.
I switched it off and then I switched it back on because I didn't want to bail our team out. But a little off topic though, since you mentioned Alonso, it would have been even more criminal. This guy, like, I'm not questioning his abilities of being a decent enough left back, but this guy, if you have read the dark stuff about him surrounding Alonso, it would have been criminal and justice wouldn't have prevailed if this guy scored a goal, a vital.
I don't understand what do you mean by criminal.
Because if you haven't read about it, Alonso was famously known for killing his own girlfriend.
That one. I don't think he killed it. It's like,
and he was never persecuted for it.
It's not like that actually. I think a lot of
fame.
No, a lot of football fans actually distort the facts in this one.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
I thought he had a suspended sentence. Like he was like persecuted, I think.
I know the thing is like a lot of football fans sort of distort this story. But the thing is like Marcos Alonso wasn't prosecuted or sent to prison because it wasn't actually he isn't as culpable as it is made out to be. So, but anyway, that is like that's a whole debate for another day. So.
I know. But I'm just putting it out there that I'm so fucking happy that his golden stand and it Karma somehow managed to lift the ball up onto his hand, and there you go, justice prevailed. But going back to the first goal, the way it happened, some neat play from Chelsea, but the way our centre backs just split their legs wide open. Was shocking.
I think this one, you really saw how important Militao is, right? The fact is, Nacho, we have highlighted this before earlier this season as well. Nacho has this tendency that he's always stepping up, and then Alaba is not one of those pure defensive center backs, right? He also has this ability to defend one-on-one, go chase his man. So today we had two center backs who all go a step forward and chase their man. And in that particular movement, both of them, I don't know, there was zero communication between them, and both of them, they just stepped up and left a huge amount of space in the box. And I think at the end of the day, it was like Carvajal is sort of running after Timo Werner, so everybody's like blaming Carvajal for the goal. Not Werner, who was it? It was Mason Mount, right? Yeah. Mason Mount. So Carvajal was chasing after them, so everybody's like, oh, it's Carvajal's bad. But the thing is, like, his goal was actually down to lack of communication between our two center backs. And I think Nacho is good playing left center back. He's good playing left back. He's good playing right back. But then when it comes to him playing as a right center back, I don't know. It doesn't somehow work out for him. Maybe if there was a more defensive center back beside him, it might have been better. But, today it was like absolutely shambolic. We missed Militao big time.
Militao is always sensational in big games. His recovery pace and intelligence is unmatched. But
even his positioning, man. Even his positioning.
Well, actually, I don't get the we miss Militao thing. Actually, I just feel like we're just like, I don't know, like glorifying someone who is not there. But I don't really feel that. I feel like the point was that, okay, apart from the first goal, like all the other goals were like considered like in fashion that we've seen a lot of times. Like. Even Alonso goal, I think, even the Timo Werner's eventual goal, like these are goals that we've seen like the same, like I would like to say like these are goals that we've considered in similar fashion all season long.
I agree about I agree to put the point that all these goals are we have suffered similar goals before. But the thing is, if the first goal does not go in, if we do not make that mistake, the tie is different. Because that first goal went in, the tie changed, and the thing is, like, once that goal went in, our team suddenly became a lot more defensive than it was before that goal going in. For the first 10 minutes, Real Madrid was not as defensive as it was from minute 10 to minute 45.
Yeah, they probably dropped 5 yard deep.
But what I'm going to add to this is that if even Mount hadn't scored, I can tell you that maybe 5 minutes later they were going to score. Because the point was that literally every corner, literally every cross into the box was like a shot for Chelsea. You get the point. And the point is, even women,
they always got their head first to
the ball.
I mean, that is true, but the only guy who can defend corners in our team is Militao, right?
But the point he's not defending. So my point is that, like, okay, obviously I'm not like shitting on Militao. Obviously, like, he's the leader of the defense. I get this. And right now in this season, he's one of the top 5 defenders in the world. But like I'm saying, like, our defense as a unit has this shortcoming. So like whether Militao is there or not, in my opinion, it doesn't change anything. I think we have a problem as a unit. So this is the thing, actually.
The second goal, since you're on set pieces and severe aerial weakness. The second goal, there was a huge controversy that it shouldn't have been a corner. Like,
it wasn't a corner for sure. It wasn't a corner for sure. I think the
ball went off of the Chelsea player. It wasn't a corner.
It wasn't a corner. So I think that's where the limitation of VAR comes in, because the point is that there was an incident which directly led to a corner, which directly led to a goal, right? So I feel like this is what you review, right? Because like when there is a goal, you guys check if there was a handball before it or there was a foul before the goal and stuff like that. You get, so you're checking incidents that precede the goal. So I feel like that was an incident that preceded the goal directly, and like VAR doesn't check for distance.
Yeah, I mean, it is funny, you know. The thing is, like, VAR checks everything, but then there are other things that VAR does not check. This is some sort of, you know, arbitrary cut points that they have. Okay, fine, we're not going to check this, we're going to check this. There has to be some sort of consistency. So the VAR rules are like sort of funny, you know.
But the thing is this now, it's an incident that leads directly to a goal, because like you consider corner kick and they score from the resulting corner kick, but it's not even a corner in the first place.
It's
awarding a penalty and someone's not missing the penalty and not awarding it, and then on the resulting play someone scores a goal, they cancel the goal and award the penalty initially. So this is what I'm trying to say. Like this,
I mean, even in the first goal, you know, before the goal happened, the play that led to the goal, before that play, Fede got fouled. I think it was Mount who stepped him off the ball.
I thought it was just like a weak challenge from, like, it was just now. Football is a game of contact.
If they had scored in that particular play, it would have been reviewed, right?
I don't think it was a foul personally, though, to be honest.
I mean, I'm not asking you to judge it. I'm saying it would have been reviewed, right?
Yeah, that's it. It would have been reviewed.
Yeah, so that's the thing, you know, it's the same continuation of the same play, but because there has been some arbitrary time limit that has passed, so you don't go look at that, you know. But then if it had been on the same play, like Alonso's was, the handball, they went back and looked at it. So I'm like, for me, VAR is like a little bit arbitrary, you know. They have to figure out how to do it better.
What I honestly think about VAR is it's purposefully mudded so that there is some sort of power still rested on the on-field officials. It's kind of crazy because these are game-changing moments, right? Like this could have completely changed the tie.
I mean, everybody has this fear of technology, how the technology is going to take over the refereeing duties or whatever. But the thing is, like, you have to adopt technologies where you need it, you know? That's the simple thing for me.
But the thing is that technology should eventually take over the referees, because like the thing is that eventually like coaches get sacked because of these things, you understand? So imagine like an Everton, and if because of they concede from the corner and they get relegated because of 3 points, the coach gets sacked because of that. So like that's like, you need to start checking what are the consequences of this. So like eventually, like obviously, like we have.
I mean, even for us, we could have gone out of the Champions League because of that one ref mistake. And the thing is, like, qualification to the Champions League for us is like, it would have given us a 12.5 million extra in revenue. So it's that one ref mistake is costing us 12.5 million in revenue. So, you know, the stakes are pretty high.
Exactly. Indeed.
It should be much more clear, and in my opinion, they should be starting to get mic'd up. You know, like we should be able to listen to what they are being told to do, and what kind of decisions they're making in the split second it's happening, because the people in the stadium are unaware of it. The people in the couches back home are unaware of it. It's a lose-lose situation, in my opinion. And one needs to completely restructure how they look at potential fouls or potential discrepancies.
And just to add to that, I think there needs to be a lot more clarity on what the rules are, what constitutes a foul and everything, what VAR is going to check.
To most point about the clarity on what the rules are, to be honest, like, you know, we're all human beings, and like I can write a sentence down and you can interpret it in a different way from what Sunaid will interpret it. Well, I just feel is that, you know, if I have an explanation to why you're interpreting this as this, I can feel more content, you know, as like Sunaid pointed out, like, I think football is like one of the one of the few sports left that you have no explanation from the referees. Like I see from the NBA, from like tennis, you know, you can see like the refs are telling, okay, this is why we've done this and we're doing this, we're reviewing this, you know, as he said, like the refs are mic'd up and all that. But like in football, like the refs just have total power and total autonomy, like whatever they decide is just done. And they don't really, you know, give us any explanation for anything, and we just have to, you know, create theories.
Do you guys think the higher authorities are trying to protect these man's life?
I think you guys, like today, the head of the Spanish Federation, that's like Luis Rubiales, he came out and said that, you know, the refs are only human. But the thing is, like, if anybody is watching the Spanish football games, you know how bad the refs are.
Definitely.
Like these guys really, like, they really suck. So it's like, and you know, La Liga is still better because the first division, if you go down the divisions, in third division, like there was a match a couple of game weeks ago. There's like Miguel is like literally like, you know, acres behind the offside line, but they still gave the offside. And I think it was just the last game day, somebody pulled down Mario Hila in the penalty box, and they did not give a penalty. And it's like, it's clear as day, you know, it's not even a doubt. It's not even a matter of, you know, okay, somebody might perceive it as something else. The guy literally pulls him down and there's no penalty. So refereeing, I think, needs to improve a lot. And to your point, I think people at the head are like protecting the refs instead of making steps to, you know, improve the refereeing level.
Yeah, that happened, and like, which was clearly out of our control. They took the corner, brilliant ball in by Mason Mount, and the marking throughout the night on set pieces is atrocious. Like, I've never seen anything like it. Like haven't they forgotten?
I mean, we have been banging this drum, right? Like Alaba is pretty poor at defending crosses. Nacho, we had our doubt, and today it was put on full display. The fact is, if something happens to Militao, our defense is banged up pretty bad. You know, the thing is, like, I was surprised that Thomas Tuchel did not exploit it more in the first half, and they were trying to play through balls and everything. But if they had gone early, I think this game would have been over in the first half itself.
Chelsea, to be honest, clearly lacked a target man that could have completely taken control of that situation, in my opinion.
I mean, Kai Havertz is enough for our defense to not be able to cope with it.
Is kind of a hybrid between a false nine and a target man. Like, he's not a pure target number 9. I don't think he's tall,
but he's good in the air. He's good in the air.
He is good, but he's not elite in the air in games like this, in my opinion. Like,
I mean, if Tuchel decides that we are going to cross and he instructs Havertz to stay in the box, I think Havertz is fully capable of pulling that off. That's my opinion.
Okay, then let's talk about the chance he had right before full time, or I think right before the end of the first half of extra time or something. Like, he had a plain open header. He put it just wide.
I mean, nobody has 100% conversion rate, right?
No, I'm just telling you, if Lukaku was firing on all cylinders, different story, mate. You know, we wouldn't be sitting here talking about a win.
That's funny, because last week you were Lukaku is finished.
No, I'm just telling you, like a proper number 9 who's in form would have completely taken the game by the scuff of his neck. But Rudiger scores. Their tails are up. You know, they think that they have got our number, and all throughout this period and even before it, the goal was never a surprise, right? Like Farouk stated very well earlier, that the goal was just a matter of when rather than a matter of if, right?
Just to add, you know, just to interject, you know, at halftime, Farouk said, "Okay, I am pretty secure that we are going through." That time, man, I was laughing. I was literally laughing because
it's delusional. Like, half of the takes are just blind fandom.
I was like, how anybody who's watched this game so far can think that we are going through?
How did you come on, Farouk? It's your time to speak up. Like, how did you think we were comfortable?
Because the point was that, you know, I just felt like last season, right? So we're even worse than this, and Chelsea were much more better than that. You understand, right?
Yeah.
And the point was that, like, they barely, like, okay, at the Santiago it was 1-1, and we went to like England and it was 2-0, right? So I just felt like
whatever at the Di Stefano, it was not at the Bernabeu.
Okay, yeah. In Madrid, whatever it was. So I just felt like whatever happened, we were gonna score one. And for me, as I said, like I felt if we score one, it's just gonna finish at 2-1, to be honest. But when Alonso scored the third one, and then actually I got shaken a bit, to be honest, although like it got disallowed and all that. But like when Alonso scored one, but I just felt like eventually we would score one. That was like what was like keeping me comfortable. I was like, okay, whatever happens, we're gonna score one. So
I mean, after Chelsea scored the third, like, you know, the third legal goal or the fourth goal, I was like, okay, we're not scoring this. And I was having sort of Barcelona flashbacks that, okay, we're not going to do anything today. But then that Luka Modric pass, man, has changed everything.
Before we talk about the Luka Modric assist, we're going to talk about the third goal and the fashion we conceded it. What is Casemiro even doing? Like, why doesn't he have the composure of a
really, like, just stay with your man. Stay with your man. The most basic thing they teach in defending school, man. Stay with your man. Really, I don't know.
Honestly, I think at some point the pressure told on the players. The fact is, like, they were 2-0 up. They had a third goal.
But don't you think it is the way the manager sets them up, right? That they're
now I think we're hitting the nail on this head. You know, this is a question that we need to have, because the fact is, after the first leg last week, everybody was pretty effusive in their praise for Carlo Ancelotti. Yeah. And when we did the pod after the Clasico, for me, I said that whatever happens like throughout the end of the season, I think Carlo Ancelotti needs to go at the end of the season. And today, for me, it reinforced the fact that Carlo Ancelotti needs to go. There were a couple of things. First of all, like as you pointed out, it was how we lost the midfield battle because of the way he set up. And I think Carlo Ancelotti was absolutely resistant to making substitutions because he did not want to take off Cruz or whatever. And then when he did take off Cruz was angry for some reason. I mean, Cruz needs to understand that he wasn't doing such a great job that he needs to be kept on the pitch, you know?
This is why I'm telling you, from day one, these guys have a sort of bubble around them that they're untouchable. That stems from right from the top level management down to the coaching staff. These guys have a special treatment.
I'm not sure it stems from the top level management, because the management wants players to be changed. That is why they're buying the players. But the fact is that, you can blame Carlo Ancelotti because he is the one.
If the management was completely on board with this guys being rotated out, like, I'm pretty sure the level of performances the past month or so.
Okay, first of all, let's clarify. What do you mean when you say management?
Management is the president and the board. Like, would have put so much pressure on Carlo for starting these guys game in game.
If you have been following Real Madrid throughout the preseason, you would know for a fact that the management wants players to age out. They want Miguel Gutierrez to play more. They want Antonio Blanco to play more. They want Camavinga to play more. But the fact is, Carlo Ancelotti does not want to change these things. And because Carlo Ancelotti is like 12 points ahead in the league, let's say it's just 9 points for any practical reason. Because Carlo Ancelotti is 9 points ahead of the league, they're not saying anything, because this season they were supposed to bring in Mbappe. Because they don't have Mbappe, they did not go in with the expectation of challenging for the Champions League spot. And now Carlo Ancelotti has Real Madrid in the semi-final somehow. So that Carlo Ancelotti has some credit in the back. That is why there is no pressure from the upper management for him to change his tactics, because something is working, so they don't want to tinker with it. But when it comes to the management, they do want them to change. They do want.
What is working though? I will make argument.
We are 9 points ahead in the league, right?
I will make the same argument I made after the Barcelona game. Last season, didn't Zidane go to the semi-final of the Champions League? And I think last season, without Suarez's goals, Real Madrid wins the league hands down against Atleti.
I mean, they wanted to keep Zidane on, right?
What? I'm sorry?
I mean, they wanted to keep Zidane on last season.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, nothing has changed. Like, nothing. Like, it's not like anything is working, or like there's all of a sudden like there's a grand, there's something in the grand scheme of work or something. Like, okay, we're seeing something. I believe in the. I don't know.
The transitions are happening in the sense that players are going out of contracts this season. Squad spots are going to open up. That is the play, right? Yeah. They want to rejuvenate the squad, but you cannot rejuvenate the squad when you already have players on board. So that's the thing. I understand when you blame Carlo Ancelotti for not playing the youngsters, but I do not agree with this that the upper management is to blame, or maybe they are not pressuring him. The reason they are pressuring him is because he has some credit in the bank right now.
Actually, but then I don't agree with what Sunil said as well, like where the players are in their bubble. So first things first, like I wouldn't be happy when a player is happy to get subbed up first. And the second thing here is that we're talking about Toni Kroos here. Like, we're not talking about some Fede Valverde or like Eduardo Camavinga in this situation. Even today, if Pep was to take up KDB in an important game, he would show that he's paced. And we've seen it at Liverpool as well with Salah and Mane when they're taken off, they're showing that they're paced. And that's even in garbage EPL games. So like, I feel like these players are like, unfortunately, like this is no longer the pastime of the likes of Sir Alex and Arsene Wenger and the Mourinho's first era where like the clubs are bigger than the players or the managers are bigger than the players. Okay, obviously the clubs are still bigger than the players, but we're not at the point whereby player power is so unlimited. Like the ceiling for player power is even unknown. So these players are always going to show that because the point is like, this is the biggest game of the season for Real Madrid right now. So like you're trying to get into the semi-final and you're being hooked up in the 70th minute and you're Toni Kroos. So like, would you just, take that? Obviously he's going to show some, how can I say, like some anger towards the manager or whatever it is. And
it's natural. He's a top level athlete who wants to stay on the pitch. But the moment he goes back into the dressing room and sits down and watches a 3-minute compilation of how he performed in today's game and the amount of times he crumpled, let me repeat, crumbled under the press of Chelsea, he would tell himself, oh my God, I need to up my game. I need to find more legs. This is the top level in Europe, It's the Champions League knockout rounds against a team that presses like madmen. And you didn't stand a chance. The same happened against PSG until they lost their heads. Like, do you think this is a rare occurrence or do you think this is history just repeating itself?
Well, I don't know, man, but one thing I can say to you is this. I actually found out that today for the first time, actually, I started to believe in the Valverde, Camavinga, Modric midfield.
Yeah.
That might just be the way forward. To be honest, I think in some games, especially as you just said right now, with the game that requires a lot of energy and, incision, because I feel like, the triple sub of Camavinga, Marcelo, and Rodrigo, I think it gave a whole different complexion to the game, to be honest. And like, when I saw Marcelo, I was kind of, okay, then what's this guy doing? But then he came in and actually you could see like, there was a different thing actually to him. Like he brings it. Okay, the thing is that Mendy is like the best, I think, defensive fullback in my opinion. Like he's just another center back being a fullback actually, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So like that offensive thing edge wasn't there, I think. So like with the presence of Marcelo, I think it's kind of, pushed Chelsea a bit backwards as well, and also like increase the threat where there. So I feel that was good. So I just felt, that change, the increase of the legs, which was what Rodrigo and Camavinga brought, I think that also like gave a lot of incision into the game. I think because the game started to shift. Okay, it didn't change exactly 100%, but it started to shift, with a little bit more of, ball recovery, nice passes, breaking the press in a better fashion compared to when Kroos was on the pitch.
I also think Marcelo, in addition to bringing his offensive input, he also brought in his experience. There were, if you watch the game from when Marcelo came on, there were quite a few moments where I think he defended crosses better than anybody had done till that point, and he knew where to position himself. And I think that comes with experience. That ability to make small adjustments that help you win. And then the thing is, like, I think these English teams, they have this tendency to play an up and down game whereby they leave spaces behind at the back. So when you are trying to play a possession-based game in the midfield, especially with an aging midfield that we have with Toni Kroos, Luka Modric, and Casemiro, I think it's sort of, the space is in front of you, but you're still playing here, still playing behind it. We were not exploiting those spaces. And then once Camavinga and Marcelo and Rodrigo, they came on, I think that was, we changed in our ability. We got that ability to exploit that space.
Catching them much more, and
we took advantage of the spaces that they were leaving, and them having, let's say, only two proper center backs in Rudiger and Silva, and we were able to exploit the weaknesses of Marcos Alonso that we weren't doing that till then. So I think that's how it helped for Kroos. Okay, I do agree that they are aging, But then I think this was a game that was still a build for Camavinga and Valverde to take advantage.
This should be an eye-opener for every Madridista around the world that these guys should not be untouchable next season. We have been talking about that for a couple of years
I
now.
mean, they shouldn't be untouchable this season as well. I think we all agree
But
with that.
they have been for large parts, and they have gotten away with it. I don't know how, but yeah.
I mean, Cruz's form has fallen off a cliff since like January, February. But then before that, he was good. So maybe somehow you can blame rotations.
He had a minor injury, right? Some period in February or something.
I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I remember he was injured. Yeah,
he had a small knock.
Yeah.
Since he came back after that, he has lost at least a good 10-yard pace, you know, and legs matter, man, at this level, unfortunately. But I wanted to address this point about Marcelo. We have been tearing a new one onto Don Carlo, but we have to give him his flowers for his decision.
I mean, I wouldn't praise Carlo for that, because the fact is, at that moment, we're 3 goals down, right?
You didn't even let me complete my point. Like the reason why I'm saying that.
I'm saying it was a three goal. We were 3 goals down, and any manager would have done that. It's not something that Carlo.
It's not about the substitution, mate. I'm talking about bringing in Marcelo even last weekend, right? Like slowly easing him in when we have Mendy on the pitch, and that I think played a huge part in him being match sharp tonight when we needed him.
I mean, I don't particularly share that sentiment, because I think when you are a player of that level, you need to be ready for whenever the chance comes.
We have seen Marcelo being shambolic in numerous games.
The thing is, this was a Champions League game, and Marcelo has been a player of moments. He knows how to step up in. Let's look at Real Madrid throughout the decade, especially with Marcelo. The fact is that we have been inconsistent in the league, but when it comes to Champions League and big games, this team has stepped up. So when it comes to that mentality, we know Marcelo has the ability to step up. So for me, it isn't down to that. I think personally, any manager would have done that. So I'm not a big fan of appreciating Carlo Ancelotti for doing.
You're telling me any manager would have simply bought on an out of form, aging, a man who looks like a shadow of himself.
Maybe a different manager might have actually not let Miguel Gutierrez rot in Castilla. And we would not have needed to bring on Marcelo.
A completely different point, but yeah, okay, fair.
Okay, so the thing is, I feel like Mo is like so harsh on Carlo Ancelotti. The point is that right here is that
this is the third game. Like this is the third game you can.
Even if we win a treble this season, I've always felt like Carlo should not lead the next generation of players. But I think also like you have to give credit where it's due. You're in the Champions League semi-final and you're gonna win the league as well. So like, okay, Carlo is not the guy, and he doesn't. As I said the other time, he plays like literally almost garbage football. Like it's these are games that are defined by individual moments of brilliance. Okay, whether it's Modric's powers or Benzema's hat trick or whatever it is, you understand. So that's how it's been all season long. But then, okay, he has done this at least, so we have to give credit to it as well. Okay, he's not the best, but I think what we're getting is okay. Yeah.
I mean, I think Real Madrid this season have been a team of the moment, right? There's been moments of play that have won us the games. And for Carlo Ancelotti, I think this is the third or fourth game within this half season that he has completely got it all wrong. First it was against Athletic Bilbao in the cup, then it was against Paris in the first leg at Paris, and then it was the game against Barcelona at the Bernabeu, and then it was today. So for me, the thing is, like, when your manager is repeatedly making mistakes, and then after every press conference he's claiming, "Oh yeah, I know I made a mistake. Next time it won't happen." So I don't really know what you can say. The thing is, like, I understand that he has to continue to the end of the season, and I understand you need to give him credit where it's due. But the thing is, for me, he should go at the end of the season, and I don't think credit was due to him. If Farouk was the manager of Real Madrid at that point in time, I'm 101% sure that he would have sent on Marcelo, Rodrigo, and Camavinga to replace those players.
Okay. Marcelo, are you kidding yourself, mate? Like Farouk being the manager, Farouk, would you have sent on Marcelo with 10 minutes to go on the clock?
I mean, we were 3 goals down, right?
God forbid, man. God forbid.
Marcelo, really, Farouk, be honest. Keep your hand on your heart and tell me you would have sent on Marcelo.
I just want to add on most points. Okay, now the thing is more. I think the thing is this: when you actually critically analyze the games, I think it's way more than that. I think the Sevilla game, if you can remember, like with with the Vinicius wonder goal, I think. I think when you go back to, there was the Sheriff game as well. When you go back to the Inter game as well, you know, that's just to name a few. Like that's the 3 additional games I can remember in my head. There've been a lot of games that have been really garbage where Ancelotti actually got the tactics wrong. But
there's one key difference. There's one key difference between those games and today. The fact is, go back and watch those games and see how deep it's it. 2 blocks of 4 defending and quick transitions is a perfectly valid strategy. But what he's doing now, having this team literally sit inside the box, you know, and they are not even able to execute the transitions. Why? Because you cannot reach Vinicius these days with how deep we are sitting.
Against Paris, just the thing didn't work. And actually,
it's not that it didn't work. It's like we are sitting too deep these days.
So that's the point I'm making. Even against Chelsea in the first leg, in my opinion, we sat too deep and Chelsea came, but Chelsea pressed half-heartedly and we were able to break the press so easily. This is my opinion. That's what because if you could recall, after the Chelsea game, I said the same thing. It was the same tactics against Paris in the first leg, but now the only difference is that there was Christensen on Vinicius and
Chelsea was very poor, bro. Like last week, Chelsea's press was very unorganized.
So my point exactly. So we broke the press so easily. Like Cruz has all, like earlier to this morning, I was reading like an article on the Athletic. Like they were literally analyzing the rate of how much time Cruz had on the ball before he picked his passes, which was what happened. Like today, that was not happening. So that was
Kante and Jorginho was completely.
You know, the thing is, like you mentioned that Cruz had a lot of time on balls and we were able to escape their press. But the thing is, you have to look at the average positions that they were in that game and compare it to the positions that we were in this game. You see, these days we are some games we are sitting too deep.
So my point now becomes this: when you press up high and press like full pressing, the Liverpool club kind of.
I'm not asking this team to press, right? Because I know this team can press. I'm saying you have to be a little more tactically flexible than having just one tactic and trying to exploit it every time.
So that's what I'm saying. Like I'm saying to you, like it's been the same tactic all season long. In some games, we broke the press. In some games, individual moments of brilliant won. So what I'm saying to you now, it's not just like the Barcelona, the Sevilla, the PSG, this Chelsea game. No, it's been like that all season. So that's what I'm saying. Like the thing now is that, you know, I don't know. I just feel like maybe for you personally, you're not like, okay, now at this point, I'm fed up of this. Or you're trying to see, I don't know, like you're starting to see the pattern starting to develop more and more. Because for me, I've always been like, okay, this is what it is. So just because I think, I don't know, maybe a couple of episodes back, I told you guys, like, I feel like we're watching garbage football. And you guys were like, oh, Real Madrid never had a style like a tiki-taka or like Gengen.
No, for me, the thing is like, when I remember when you said that, and you have to understand the point I'm trying to make. The thing is like, back then, we were not as defensive as we are today. But even taking that point into mind, the thing is, you know, Carlo Ancelotti, why was he hired? First of all, because he's a good man manager. The second thing is, this guy has the ability to be flexible tactically, right? And right now, we are just going back to that one tactic over and over and not being flexible because we're not adapting to our opponents. That is the thing that is known for, Real Madrid is known for, right? It's not, okay, I understand that we do not have a DNA or whatever that is. You know, I should say we don't have a fixed style, a style that is representative of Real Madrid. But the thing is, we do have tactical flexibility to adapt, to be able to adapt to win. And the thing is, this team does not adapt to win. This team is just playing one particular tactic. We are incredibly dependent on executing the transitions with Vinicius leading the line. But the thing is, like, when teams pin us down, Vinicius has to come back. You know, he has to drop deep. And when he drops deep, we cannot execute those transitions because, you know, you cannot expect Vinicius to take the ball from the third, fourth of the pitch and run all the way to the top.
This comes down, this very thing that Carlo falls back on, the very tactic that you mentioned, comes down to the fact that he has this innate fear on the back of his mind that KCM is going to be completely blown away. If we play a decent enough high line, he's scared for his life, sending these 30-odd men out. You know,
I mean, the high line thing is not just down to KCM. It's also because of our center backs. If you put them too high, they can't defend. And, you know, at the start of the season, we were playing a pretty high line. If you guys remember the Alaves game and the game against Levante, and a lot of goals were scored against us. So the high line is not just because of Cruz, Casemiro, Modric. I think 2 blocks of 4 is the strategy that suits Real Madrid the best. But then you have to be tactically flexible and, you know, be able to adapt. And I think Carlo Ancelotti has not done that this season. And there have been far too many occasions where I think tactically he has been found out by the opposite manager. That's my opinion, honestly.
But the subs,
I feel
but
like
the subs,
sorry,
sorry,
go.
Farouk?
So go on.
No. I was saying, yeah, like he has gotten a lot of stuff wrong all throughout the season, but the subs completely turned the game on his head. And we gotta talk about the Luka Modric assist. We haven't given him his flowers yet. The outside of his boot into the path of on running Rodrigo. I think, was it his first touch in the game?
I don't know if it was his first touch, but whatever number of touch it was brilliant. I mean, on the one hand, we can praise Luka Modric for the assist, but on the other hand, we also have to praise Rodrigo for the goal. I mean, this is a guy who has only scored one goal,
Yeah, I know.
this season, and this was his second goal.
There's a reason why he was always fondly called Mr. UCL, right? Like the composure he had to slot it in near post when easily in this kind of pressure, he could have chosen the far post, for a much more obvious shot. But he went near post, which completely caught Mendy wrong-footed. And yeah, man, like the kid has immense potential again, and I love him. His never say die mentality has a very positive effect on all the players on the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really argue with that. And the fact is, like, even players like Modric and Benzema, they understand the ethos of the club, that is to never give up. Nunca se rinde. That's like never give up. That is the motto of the club. So for me, it's like they did what we always expect Madridistas to do, to fight till the end. So I was pretty happy when we got that goal. I honestly did not expect that goal would come. So, but then this again ties into the point that we're trying to make, is like Real Madrid this season have been a team of moments. It was a moment that led us to get the goal. So overall, I think more. And another thing is like this assist. I was just watching CBS, and I think it was Peter Schmeichel. He compared that ability to make that outside of the foot pass to Michael Laudrup, who also had the ability to do those things. So it just shows you how great of a player Luka Modric is. And I think this season he has been one of the pillars of the team.
At his age and at his point, like in his career, like it's mad how much he manages to find that moment of brilliance that sets his team apart.
And this assist comes at a point in time where yesterday there was news that Real Madrid want to renew Luka Modric, but they want him to take a 10% pay cut. I mean, when a player is performing at this level, the fact is that this guy already took a pay cut last season to renew, right? Because of COVID. So, and you want him to take another pay cut to renew his contract. I think it's unfair to him. He should just be given.
It's a 1-year renewal anyways, right?
Yeah. So I don't understand why Real Madrid, want him to take a pay cut again.
This should be one of the more straightforward deals to, put pen.
Exactly.
Yeah, brilliant goal. And then we are back in it, and we still were so fucking nervy all throughout the remaining of the second half. The amount of headers they had, the Jorginho chance. Oh my God, how did he not put it on target? Like,
I think Jorginho's chance was in the extra time, right?
Yeah, the Jorginho one was the last.
Was it in extra time? My bad.
It was the end of the extra time. I think it was. You were talking about there was a. I think was it Havertz?
Pulisic.
It was Pulisic, right?
Pulisic,
Yeah, 92nd minute.
Right?
Exactly. They were 2 chances,
But then you have to see why those chances came. It came because Carlo Ancelotti, for some reason, decided Dani Carvajal is a competent centre back.
And he bailed the old man out.
I mean, for some reason, he like for whatever, like he played well. You have to give him credit. But the thing is, like, you had an option in Rafa Marin on the bench. He's been
No.
I understand you say, okay, fine, this is too big of an occasion, and maybe he would have messed it up. But the thing is, like, Dani Carvajal could have as equally messed it up.
I'm sorry, but
this guy is not good aerially.
Right?
Sorry?
He has never played for the first team.
Rafa Marin?
Yeah.
He's not played for the first team, but he's been training for the first team. Sometimes he has to play for the first team, right?
You can't throw him into the fire right here. The point is, if the guy messes up, his confidence goes to garbage.
Yeah.
I mean, even if he messes it up, it is a learning experience for him. That's how I see it, at least. And I think from what I have seen from Rafa Marin, I think he has the ability to play in these kind of
Let me tell you
situations.
that, bro. No coach is gonna take that kind of leap of faith unless you're like someone like a Leipzig or Salzburg who have nothing to lose. You know, we're Real Madrid, and if like rightly how Farouk pointed out, like if he makes a mistake, that's it. That might break his career. Like you never know. But Carvajal, I have to give him his plaudits. He was phenomenal, even though he's just like 5'7", 5'6". The determination he had to help us out of a rut, with him marshalling centre back was insane. Like I don't know how he managed to pull it off, but this should be an anomaly, and we need to find a backup at centre back as soon as possible.
Pau Torres.
I don't think we're signing Pau Torres. The next season, the fourth center back at best would be like at worst would be Vallejo, and at best would be Rafa Mari. So don't get your hopes too high.
Really.
I still remember Alaba speaking to Militao, the PSG second leg. You know, like he was looking at Alaba and he was looking at Militao and asking, "Do you really want Vallejo in for you? You know, do you really want Vallejo to play the last 60 minutes? You dumb fuck." But yeah,
man, Vallejo's career is something that I really feel bad for him, because this guy coming up was like one of the best center backs.
the amount of hype I had for him and the amount of times I've boasted of this guy back when I was in college.
Mean, if you guys watched him play at Eintracht Frankfurt, he was damn good, and and you could say that this guy is going to be one of the best center backs in the world. But then suddenly his injury just caught up to him, and he had that bad spell at Wolverhampton. So I think a lot of people's opinion of Vallejo is tainted by that spell at Wolverhampton.
Exactly.
Because I think at Granada he was decent enough. He was a starter for them. But then I currently, sadly, I think Vallejo is not fit to play for.
Actually, I think the most important thing you pointed out was like, when he went to Germany, he was good actually. Because I actually had the idea with the same thing as, with Dani Carvajal. But then, as you pointed out, the injury actually just took a toll on him. And then like it was a long up choice to go back to England actually, rather to go to England. The Wolves thing was actually a very, very bad thing. So that was just it for him actually. I don't know.
Some of the long deals are sus, but I think that's a whole new episode in itself. But we go in level into extra time, and then we manage to snag that goal.
You know who else it is? Karim the Dream.
Karim the Dream. But Kamavinga's positioning all throughout the time he stepped onto the pitch was insane. Like his recovery leads to the goal, right? He recovers the ball, puts Vinicius through, and Vinicius' presence of mind to just dink it, other than like put his feet through it and send in a thumping cross.
Man, did you see the movement of Benzema? Like there is no other choice there. Like Benzema literally allowed Rodrigo to go with Rudiger and then give himself the space.
Rudiger almost fell down, right?
When Rudiger now noticed what was happening, it was too late. It's like really like that movement from Benzema, and actually Vinicius lifting his head. Actually, I think that's the difference between Vinicius of the past and now. Now he get to see what's happening around him.
Absolutely.
Like that was it was a really.
But the funny thing for me is like Vinicius earlier in the game, 9 times out of 10, like if he had the early game Vinicius, like 10 times out of 10, he would have made the wrong decision. But this time he somehow had the presence in mind to make the correct decision.
He had so much time that played into his hands. He had so much time.
Okay, that's why I give a lot of credit to Kamavinga for that, because like he gave the ball at the right time that Vinicius had like tons of time.
Like right time and right weight, right? Like right onto.
Yes, exactly, man. Exactly.
Kamavinga and Valverde were phenomenal in midfield as well. But Karim Benzema, he's the reason we are in semi-final. Like even though he was way below his usual self.
I don't think it was Benzema's fault. The fact is, like, we could not get the ball out of our own
That's why I can only sympathize with him, because the way the team was set up was.
I mean, even then, this guy was dropping deep and trying to relieve pressure. Trying to manufacture something. But the thing is, like, when your teammates are not supporting you, there's only so much a striker can do. And the fact is, like, after we scored that goal, Benzema even was contributing at a center back, as a left back. Even like I think he was the best player at defending crosses.
I was actually gonna say that there was a couple of crosses where he played right.
So for me, I'm not gonna complain about Benzema. And the thing is, like, towards the end, he couldn't continue, but he somehow still came back on the pitch.
He looked absolutely knackered. Like he was, I think, gasping for breath. Like, this man needs to be knighted as soon as possible. And
He's the king of Madrid, man, right at this moment.
Yeah,
I know. This is a plea going out to the Real Madrid players. If you guys are listening in some way or form, you guys should make it a mission, an absolute mission, one-way mission to win the Champions League for this man, because he deserves it. If he wins the Champions League, hands down, he is the winner of the Ballon d'Or. And
I think his chances improved a lot already today,
right?
because Bayern went out.
Yeah.
And it's like I remember it was like I don't know, you went AWOL for some reason. I even texted on the group saying that Bayern went out, and there was no response. I called you twice.
I saw the message on my notifications bar, but I had this weird kind of superstition going on in my brain that if I reply to something in the group, we are going to concede. So I just stayed away. I stayed away for a good
I had the same thing with Twitter. So
yeah, I stayed away.
Completely understand.
For a period of good 40 minutes, we won the tie. That's enough, bro. That's enough. And yeah, like you rightly pointed out.
Another funny thing that me and Farouk, we were discussing in the group. We said last week, you remember you said Bayern are going to score 213 in Germany. And we said Villarreal is not Salzburg.
Exactly.
And today they showed it. It's like Bayern, I told you guys, Bayern has their weaknesses defensively. So to me, it was not a shock. Maybe to some people who think that, who thought before this game that Bayern are better than Liverpool, it was a shock. But to me, honestly, I did not see Bayern to be, as good as people think they are.
But since it was away at the Allianz, like you gotta give Villarreal immense amount of credit.
I mean, Villarreal deserves credit, and as Farouk pointed out in the group, I think Unai Emery also deserves a lot of credit.
Yeah,
the way they portrayed Emery at Arsenal, man, like they made the guy seem like he was, some kind of Ted Lasso all of a sudden, man. The guy is
it's more down to I think communication, and these guys wouldn't give him a chance. But yeah, that's another story. We need to stick to Real Madrid and how we are still in with a shout to win this thing. Yeah.
I mean, just one thing that I would like to add is the fact that I think Villarreal playing well is like you have to understand that the manager there has to be good tactically to be able to get so much out of his players, because at Real Madrid, Carlo Ancelotti has the best players in the world. At Villarreal, he does not. He does not have the luxury. The funny thing is, like I read today, the attendance that represented Villarreal at Allianz was like 3% of the entire population of the town of Villarreal.
Definitely.
That's how small the club is.
People. Yeah. And that cannot even fill the Allianz. Allianz has more than 60,000 capacity. So yeah,
it's a phenomenal feat, and one of my favorite players in recent times, Danjuma, and of course Chukwueze, who has always looked bright. Like I remember him giving us a heart when we faced them. Arsenal faced them in the semi-finals, I think a couple of seasons back. But
I think Farouk, earlier in the season we had this discussion about Chukwueze, right? Once that how good is he? So I don't really know.
As well, right?
Maybe someday you have to update us again.
Chukwueze is actually like he's frustrating in the sense that like he's like Vinicius of the past. Like he has a lot of he can beat everyone and he can miss an empty post.
Yeah, he's erratic in his consistency. But moving on, like kudos to Villarreal, man. Like brilliant feat, and kind of makes our job easier if we actually manage to get past Man City. I think who's going to eventually
make your job easier. Liverpool are going to trash whoever they meet in the semi-final. So it was either Bayern or Villarreal, and they're going to trash both of them. So it doesn't make your job any easier. It's all same. You're going to meet Liverpool in the final, irrespective.
I know, but you
never know. I wouldn't be so sure.
You never know.
I don't know. I mean, for me, Liverpool are favorites if they go through against Villarreal, but I wouldn't just rubbish Villarreal.
I'm not rubbishing them, but I just feel like
I still think they have a 10 to 20% chance of beating Liverpool.
You can't rule out Unai Emery, like he
the man is saying this,
can do something. And these big boys, just like us, we have those days when we think, nothing's gonna break us, nothing's gonna ruffle us.
And the thing is, like, I think Villarreal has space on their side. Once today, if you saw the game, it was like they were defending deep. If they had that ability to, defend deep, and then they have Dani Parejo. Dani Parejo is like
how are you not cross-eyed? Like if you have been watching both the games simultaneously.
I mean, you don't have to watch the full game. You can just watch moments, right? And the thing is, like, Dani Parejo is a great passer of the ball. I think if Toni Kroos was not here, then maybe Dani Parejo might have returned to Real Madrid. The thing is,
Dani Parejo is slower than Toni Kroos.
but he has the ability to pass the ball.
Of course, even Kroos has that, but yeah.
So I think with Dani Parejo, the thing is, like, they have the ability to exploit Trent Alexander-Arnold and Andy Robertson when they are up high. So and especially with the pace they have. So I think Villarreal has a chance.
I think especially Trent, but I don't know. Also, Robertson is almost difficult to exploit, to be honest. Like, I think he's the best two-way fullback in world football. I don't know.
At the moment, yeah, you could have a case for him. Like, he's been pretty good. But like, before we wrap this up, we have a game against Sevilla at the weekend. Do you guys think if we win that solidifies this La Liga position and we go into the next round of the Champions League, putting that aside and completely putting all our eggs in this basket?
No. I think we have Sevilla, we have Atleti, we have Betis.
I know.
So I think we have tricky fixtures, and the thing is, like, of the remaining games, I think we have to win 4 to win the title. So I think it's too early to say the league is decided.
I think actually I would say not up till Betis, but I think after that Atletico Madrid game, I think we can have a more clear.
Depending on how results go. So I think right now it's too early.
Okay, fair.
I don't want to jinx anything.
I like your conservative approach to things, but yeah, like one last thing. So La Liga is, I think, pretty much in our hands, and we will prevail, hopefully, in the end. But if we come across Atleti, I know it's a different story. It's a derby, anything can happen. But if we come up against a clearly better side in City, do you think we stand any chance, apart from the fact that we have this aura around us?
I mean, it's Real Madrid. How can you say Real Madrid don't stand a chance in the Champions League? It's never going to happen. It's Real Madrid. They always have a chance in the Champions League.
But out of 100, like, if you can put your neck on the line, right? How much?
I mean, City would be favorites. City would be favorites because mere fact that they have, like, this better automatisms between those players. They know where the other player is going to be. But then when it comes to Champions League, there's a component of pressure, especially when you're playing at the Bernabeu. So I think there's that. So when it's Real Madrid in the Champions League, you can never say no.
But give me a number for the sake of it. So
I'm not Don Hutchinson that you're asking me for numbers.
No, just a round number. You know, like, do you think we stand a 40% chance?
I would say 30%, 35% maybe.
That's low. Farouk?
I would say this, though, to be honest. I think City are good, Liverpool are good, okay? But I think they're not that far superior than the English media make them look like. Because I feel like, I feel both of the teams, their defense really are there to be exploited, in my opinion. And like, you could see actually with even like when Palace won against City, you could see it's very similar to like the kind of transition football we play actually. They just run with Wilfred Zaha, and like they have the Olise and Jordan Ayew, and like they just run with this guy, and like they have this dynamic midfielder, the Chelsea midfielder Gallagher, which Modric is a more superior version of. So I feel like,
but the thing is, we have escaped the press, and I think escaping the press is the base.
That's what I'm going to say. If we can escape the press once or two times, I think we can like exploit City's defense really.
If Carlo goes with KCM, man, it's curtains. I'm just gonna switch the stream on. I'm not gonna even put the stream on. I can see the lineups fucking way before, right? Like, if he's gonna go with.
One is, to be honest, like I think against City, I would play KCM, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, may God help you. But in my opinion, it should be Modric, Valverde, and Camavinga, hands down, to handle the press. Like,
yeah, I will play those.
I mean, for me personally, I am hesitant whenever somebody says going without Casemiro, because I think Casemiro is very important. So for me, I think I would probably drop Kroos and bring in Camavinga, but then I am on the fence. But if somebody put a gun to my head, I would probably go with Casemiro, Valverde, Modric, and Camavinga.
Okay. I would go with the same, like I would say the same formation we played today, just with the Militao back. I think if the first game is at the Etihad, and then in the return leg, maybe then I can just.
Where is the first leg gonna be? We know that right now, right?
I'll have to check. I don't remember actually.
Just check, bro. Just check. On the Real Madrid fixtures, I think you can see it.
It's not going to
But-
show it because you don't know who the guy is. You just have to check the Champions League thing.
I think we can see it.
I think I did a draw thing, so
Yeah.
probably somewhere it should be there, but I'll have to look for it.
You couldn't find it? Oh my God, give me a second. I'll find it.
No,
Anyway.
I mean, we did the draw. I did the draw thread on the sub, so it's
So I think
probably
you
on
just
there.
Google it.
Who
You
would
can Google it. Let me Google it.
Man City?
Okay, Google.
Yeah, guys, who would you prefer, Atleti or Man City?
Oh, I prefer Athletic.
Of course, Atleti any day. Oh, okay. The first leg is gonna be away.
Oh, then we're playing second home.
During second.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That's cool.
that's good then. That's good.
It's gonna be a mad end of the season. Like I said in the group earlier, like I seriously doubt I have the stomach to sit through any of it, and I just hope.
Against the City, in the City game? You mean? Or
What?
in the City game, you mean, or generally?
In general, because the games leading up to the City game and the games in between the
Man,
first and the second leg,
Man, what did you do when like Leon used to trash us? Like, I don't know, man.
He wasn't
Then-
a fan. He became a Real Madrid fan 2009.
yeah,
Until
Yeah.
then, he was supporting Arsenal and Thierry Henry.
I wasn't
Salah.
supporting anybody. I was just a fan of AC Milan. I didn't support anyone. I was too young. I was just 11 years old.
Actually, I always have this idea in my head. Like, I don't know if you guys can remember. Like, there's this Michel Bastos, the left back at Lyon. In the
Right?
there's Michel.
I remember a guy called Michel Bastos.
Yeah.
Was he a wing back?
He was a left back at Lyon then.
Left back at Lyon.
Like
Okay.
this guy plays against Madrid and like he became prime Roberto Carlos every season for 2 straight seasons. Like it's just because of those games I can never forget this guy. Like literally, like he became,
Brazilian, wasn't he?
I'm sorry?
I don't remember his nationality.
Was he
I
Brazilian?
think he was French. I'm not sure actually. I can to be honest, I can
Anyway.
I remember him, but I don't remember his nationality.
Wow.
Fair. That's a far cry from where we are at the
Very
moment.
shitty days, man. At least now we go to
I mean, honestly, to the point that Farouk is making, we are a lot better than we were in the era of between, it was 2003, 2004 to 2009 till Ronaldo and
If
everybody
you
was
really
signed.
want to hold us down to those standards, you can.
I mean, we won 2 league titles.
No,
It's
I'm
not
not
like
saying that only-
we were a
I'm saying,
crappy team.
Like we've seen. Actually, I was so young then, and I used to watch those games and go to school and get taunted.
Yeah, I can.
Like going to school after 6-2 was like a horrible experience.
Like, so
Only
right now, like,
five
it's nothing. It's not a big deal anymore, man. So that's just it.
Yeah,
But having said that, if we had lost to the 11 champ, I would not
it's
have
all
been able
about
to stomach that.
perception. We are far cry away from those years, and as things stand at the moment, if we can turn our performances on for a couple more days, we stand with a very good chance of making it to the final. And again, it's.
I think a
I'm
quick
gonna
fact
repeat
that
myself.
we should probably be mentioning is the fact that this is the 30th time Real Madrid have made the Champions League semi-final, like European Cup Champions League, and I think the competition has been around like for 60 odd years. So half of the time we've been in the semi-final. So this is Real Madrid. This is something that you expect us to do, and against City we'll stand a chance because we are Real Madrid.
I think also like to add to that, like I think in recent memory as well, is the 10th time we're in the past 12 years. So like the 10th
I think we only crashed out against who was it? Like, against City and who else? Ajax, yeah. Those two round of 16, right?
So,
Man, when we crashed out against Ajax in round of 16, I was pretty worried that it's gonna start another run of round of 16 exits.
to be honest, so it was like,
that was painful.
and then there was City the next one. I think City was
Yeah.
the quarters, right? I think if I'm not mistaken.
Sorry?
Like after Ajax, it was City, but I think
Yeah, Ajax and then City. But then last season we reversed it, and this is again we're in the semis. So yeah, all's fair. I don't want to live through those years again.
actually, when Ziyech was coming on, like I had those vibes of the old Ajax days.
Oh, the thing is, like, I was actually making comparisons. Sergio Ramos was suspended for the second leg against Ajax, and Militao was suspended. They had Hakim Ziyech, and we again the Hakim Ziyech. So I was worried. And then even against the game against Juventus when they almost came back, Sergio Ramos was suspended for the second leg.
Yeah.
Actually, I just wanted to point out, like, there was this save that Courtois made. I think it was from the head of Havertz. I'm not sure, or was it Mount?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was just before the game ended.
I think it was
Not sure.
Havertz or something.
It was actually before Rodrigo scored. Like it was 3-0, and there was like this save from this corner. I think that was very crucial. I think
That was
I remember the save, but I don't remember who it was.
exactly.
I remember the save now.
It was, but it was just 3-0, and it was immediately after the 3-0.
After 3-0, we somehow came back to 2-3. It's surreal, man. It's surreal.
What about that drag back he did against, was it Mount? Under
Havertz.
pressure?
Havertz, it was against Havertz. Even
Havertz,
Havertz
right?
had a yellow
Oh my
card.
God. Balls of steel, bro. Under those circumstances, like he's fucking 6'5", right?
Yeah.
Who? Courtois?
Yeah, Thibaut.
Courtois is 6'7".
6'7", yeah, 6'7".
You can see the difference when Lunin plays and Courtois plays. And like Lunin is not a short guy by any stretch.
Lunin also is yeah, right.
Yeah, I think he's 6'4", 6'3" something, and Courtois is like 6'7". So it's like Lunin looks like a shorter keeper for some reason.
So yeah, before we wrap this up, boys, give me your man of the match for tonight.
For me, for Real Madrid side, there would be two. I think one Luka Modric and one Karim Benzema. But I'll probably go with Modric because he brought us back into the game.
For me, it's Dani Carvajal.
Oh well.
Actually, it's because like I've shitted on Carvajal a lot this season, so I feel like it's like today really he stepped up and he was.
I mean, I'm a big fan of Carvajal, but for me, Carvajal is like at central back is a big no.
Obviously it's a big no, but the guy stepped up and put the shift and
If I was the manager, I would obviously like. People will hate me for this, but I would have gone with Rafa Mali. At some point in time, I would have brought in Rafa Mali.
It takes tremendous character to stick through and see this out. And Carvajal was there, fighting until the end.
I think if we know this about Carvajal, people who shit on Carvajal should know the fact that Carvajal is a warrior.
Always has been, like he's special in that way. But for me, I think people are gonna be raising their eyebrows, especially Carlo. For me, Camavinga was the man who again.
I actually debated naming him as well. I thought he was pretty good once he came.
Yeah. The amount of composure he has.
Camavinga with, man, I don't know.
Times like this. I've told you, Farooq, again, I'm going to mention this for the second time in this episode, that I've told you that this guy clearly showed signs of maturity. Apart from his, rash tackles.
But I think this half of the season, his rashness has gradually gone down.
Yeah. When push has come to shove, he has completely eradicated that side of his game. And it's, huge credit to Carlo and his team, to actually provide Camavinga with the platform, not only the platform, and also the confidence to, be very calm on the ball. But yeah, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I don't want to watch another game like this, please. Let's just have fun. Like, I'll take 2-0, 3-0 easy wins, please. None more of this comebacks and stuff.
If we actually deep it, we would be like a good 10, 15, 20 more gray hairs, like between us. It's crazy. Now I know why Carlo, got gray hair so, early in his career. This man is used to this, But yeah, hope we get the job done against Sevilla. Another big game. We just need to keep winning no matter what. The final stretch of the season is going to be pretty crazy. And let's hope and pray that Atleti does a job tomorrow. Simeone 5-5-0 is going to put you right into a coffin. So, bro, please, play with some balls. That's my.
Boys play with balls. So.
Fair. Yeah, so that's about it, boys. Until next time. Hala Madrid.
Madrid.
Hala Madrid.